but a lot of it is still to be tapped. And I think, sir, under your able and visionary leadership, I think it's really well positioned to capitalize on all of the opportunities in the future. I think really what it requires is for more of us from the industry to really make Andhra and Andhra Pradesh our destination in terms of setting up our new businesses and so on. And I think all the policies, all the friendliness and all the encouragement and the incentives that are being given by the state government of Andhra Pradesh, I think really make it a very, very important state for all of us to really look at situating our businesses in. Some of you would know that Andhra is right now has a GDP of state GDP of about $150 billion. It's the 8th largest state in India. But interestingly enough, it has been ranked number 1 in the ease of doing business for the last 3 years in a row. So that really speaks to the volumes of I think how the state has really approached the whole industrial sector. The industrial output of the state is about 35 billion. It has been growing at about 6-7% a year for the last several years, which is really better than what the rest of the country has been doing. And it is now becoming a home for a number of different kinds of industries, both the traditional industries as well as a lot of the new industries like biotechnology, food processing, and so on, along, of course, with auto components and some of the older industries like mining, textiles, leather, and so on as well. And I'm sure Debjani will speak about the IT and ITES sectors as well, where, of course, I think Andhra has also been taking the lead. I would say that, to speak about my sector, which is the renewable energy sector and the clean energy sector, Andhra is actually uniquely positioned for that, because Andhra is one of the very few states in the country that has both good wind resource as well as very good solar resource. And therefore, it's a perfect state to situate hybrid projects and, of course, also position straightforward wind and solar projects as well. The other advantage of Andhra is that it has a very long coastline. And therefore, there's a lot of opportunity to set up projects which can then be, looked at from an export standpoint, especially in our sector as well. Things like green hydrogen, for example, given the proximity of wind and solar sites, given the proximity of ports, clearly Andhra Pradesh becomes almost in some senses the #1 state to put up green hydrogen projects in. And given the fact that the government of India also now has come out of the National Green Hydrogen Policy, I think clearly Andhra stands to benefit quite substantially from the policy. The other thing I would say is that Andhra also has, I think, the opportunity of locating a lot of industries on the manufacturing side, especially in solar manufacturing. We are seeing a lot of industries now getting set up there. I know that one of the 2 or 3 PLI winners is now looking at setting up a full end-to-end solar manufacturing project, all the way from polysilicon on to solar panels in Andhra as well. So I think all in all, Andhra is extremely well positioned to take advantage of a lot of the opportunities on the clean energy transition side. I think the one biggest strength that Andhra has, which perhaps no other state has in India, really is the Chief Minister himself. And I think the fact that he has been so supportive and so forward-looking in terms of encouraging all of us to come in and set up in the state of Andhra Pradesh, I think that to me is the biggest reason for all of us to try to see what all we can do in the state. As far as we ourselves are concerned, in our company, sir, we are looking at, as you know, of course, we're looking at setting up more wind and solar projects, and we could be setting up quite a large amount of capacity in the state. We're also looking at, of course, setting up green hydrogen projects in one of the port areas there. We're also looking at potentially pumped hydro-based solutions. Those are things that we're discussing with the government. And of course, eventually we'll also see whether it makes sense to put up solar manufacturing plants as well. So for us personally, for our company Renew, clearly Andhra is going to be one of the most important states within the country where we can actually set up and grow a lot of our capacity. And as I said, quite apart from the natural resource and the geographic advantages that Andhra has, it is also, of course, the encouragement and the friendliness that we get from the state and from the Chief Minister personally that makes it really attractive for us. So all in all, I would really encourage all of you to look at Andhra very, very seriously. I think it's a terrific opportunity for all of us to take advantage of all the developments and all the encouragement we see in the state right now. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for that insightful address and also shedding light on so many of the different sectors where Andhra Pradesh is flourishing and doing well. I'd now like to invite the President of NASSCOM, Ms. Debjani Ghosh, for her special address.
Yep, thank you. Thanks a ton. Honorable Chief Minister, dignitaries on stage, my dear friends. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And Chief Minister, I have to say that I was very, very pleasantly surprised to see this document on Advantage Andhra Pradesh. I was reading it, and I don't know if it's by design, but I think it is. You've called out logistics, ease. You've called out best state for infrastructure, energy infrastructure. You've called out outstanding contribution to port-led infrastructure, and you've called out ease of doing business. Why these four are super critical in today's time is because as the world is getting rapidly digitized and we are entering this era, what I call hyper-digital, everything is digital, there are three transitions that will define leaders and followers. And these transitions, the most important, the first one and the most important is energy. Anyone who has an advantage, a competitive advantage in energy, is going to join the rank of leaders of the digital era. The second transition is supply chain resilience. How does the world recalibrate supply chains? Where do we see the new ecosystems emerge? And boasting of the second largest coastline, boasting of one of the best port infrastructures, networks in the country already gives you tremendous advantage as we are talking about supply chain ecosystems, which will lead to resilience. And the third transformation is, of course, the digital transformation. And I think one thing you haven't stated here is that as far as I can remember, Andhra has always been a leader in digital transformation, starting with government services. You have always led from the front when it came to actually digitizing government. I think e-governance, if I'm not wrong, took shape in your state. And I think that's, if I could give you one suggestion, please do add that here, because then you have your capabilities mapped to the three things that the world is looking at today. And I think this is, as we are talking about advantage, as we are talking about India advantage, we are talking about advantage that states in India can build. We now have to focus on these three areas of transformation, and we have to show where are we the best and how are we the best. I think that's the simple job ahead for all of us. And the one thing that I believe is the secret sauce in India, it's our magic superpower, it's our people, it's our talent. Because everyone can have infrastructure, everyone can have, technology is getting democratized. Everybody will have access to the same technology. But having people who can use the technology to do things better than the other states or other countries is where the magic will happen. And I think Andhra has also boasts of, and that's another thing you should focus on here, tremendously progressive educational institutes, network, infrastructure. And I think if that can be leveraged to build what I call digital mastery, because in today's world, competitive advantage is defined by your digital mastery. You have it or you don't have it. I think that's where the superpower is. And I would urge you, and as NASSCOM, we'll be very interested to work with you to figure out how can Andhra lead the creation of the world's best, not India's best, the world's best talent for deep tech. That's an area that no one is looking at. We have little bit of success, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Pune, a few other places. But no state in India or no country in the world is today known as the magnet or the hub for deep tech talent, which is going to shape the industry, which is going to shape the world. And I think you have a tremendous advantage to take the lead in building not just the skills, but also the right mindset that is required for working on innovation and that is required for working on deep tech. As NASSCOM, we are already engaged with you through our Center of Excellence today, and I'm really happy with the work we do to drive innovation in your state, but I think there's so much more to be done, and if you are interested in taking up this challenge to become the #1 state and the #1 hub for deep tech skills, we will be absolutely thrilled to work with you to make that happen. So with that, all the best for the Global Summit. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ghosh, for that and for shedding light on such an important topic, such a new technology that will be, because Andhra Pradesh is a state that is ready for the future. So thank you for shedding light on that as well. Next up, I'd like to invite the chairperson of CII Southern Region and then the co-founder and JMD of Bharat Biotech International, Mrs. Suchitra Ella, for a special address.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you here in Delhi. Before I could meet you in back in Andhra Pradesh, which we were anyway planning to do so, sir. We will do that as well. Shri Amarnath Gudivada Amarnath Garu, Honorable Minister for Industries and Commerce, Government of Andhra Pradesh. Shri R. Karikal Vallavan, IAS,